Hey guys, welcome back to Evike Tech Corner. Today we have a G36K that the hop up is not adjusting properly, so it's constantly curving up. We're going to take this down and see what's going on with it. To start taking apart the G36, start by taking off your handguard by removing the pin. Next, what you want to do is actually remove the stock. There is a pin right here. Just take a punch or a thick Allen key and you should be able to push it through. Yeah, just push it all the way through. Set this to the side. Now your stock will come right off. Once you have this down, what you're going to want to do is remove the magazine well. There's another pin here. Just push that through again with either a punch or a thick Allen key and take that pin out. And to take this magazine well off, what you want to do is actually pull up on it, and sometimes you have to pull the magazine catch itself. Depends on the model you have though. Now that you have this portion stripped down, move to the back. On the top here there's an Allen key. Let's go ahead and remove that. Okay. Next, on each side, if you have the JGK, these are actually two separate Allen keys. If you have like the Aries or a trademarked version, sometimes this is also a body pin and you just push it through. This model, it's a two-part Allen, so they're actually just little screws. Let's set these to the side here. Now that you have those out, what you can do is very carefully start pulling on this. And you may have to move your hop-up unit, and you can actually, I'm reaching in and pulling up the hop-up unit back. You can reach in and pull upwards. Go slowly because there's a connector here. There's a front wiring harness, so you have to unplug that. Now we can take this, the gearbox and the motor assembly, and set it to the side for now. Okay, now this is where some of the difficulties come. You actually have to remove the majority of the screws and you have to pull the whole barrel assembly out. So let's get that going. You're going to start by removing the rail system on the top. Now these little rings, these rings need to go on certain sides. One side is threaded, like this one has small threads, and this one is just a larger hole so they can actually lock into each other. So again, just set these in a small container off to the side. Okay, once you have this portion out, on the rear, you're going to see a small pin. You have to push that through. This pin actually holds in your rear sight, so now you can remove the rear sight. And again, we'll set that in a container. Now, this top rail will not pull up. You're actually going to slide it either forward or back, depending on the model. This one goes back. Just take this off. Okay, now we're getting down to the closer to the hop-up unit. Next, on the side, you're going to see that there are 4 screws. We're going to go ahead and remove all 4 of those screws. Okay, now that we got these out, we'll go ahead and throw these in another container over here too. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. There are these pins that are inside of this body. So even though we took the screws out, it's still in there pretty tight. So what you want to do is very carefully, you don't want to scuff or damage any of this, is you want to take either a small, thin, flathead screwdriver and get in here and start trying to get it to open. Now what I like to do is actually push on this fin, and you'll see that it opens just a little bit. Then put my screwdriver in here. There's actually one of the pins that is right up here. Alright, see now I got it open and I didn't do any damage to it. Leave it in there and start pulling on your hop-up unit very lightly. You don't want to pull too hard because you can crack your receiver here. Okay, I see it came out. If you're having difficulty getting this out, if you did this split portion here, come right here and go to the front portion here, and again try to push on it and then stick the screwdriver in there, and you can actually wiggle this open, and there's a pin in here. Let's see if I can get you, see that pin that sits here? There's another one that's in here, and so it might be pinching the top of your hop-up unit. For now, we'll set this to the side. We'll get to inspecting this assembly here. Now, this flash hider actually looks like it's damaged, like this got dropped. We're going to take a look at it here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of angled a little bit, and that will actually cause the BBs to start smacking this flash hider here. So we're going to take a look at that. But this hop-up unit right now is constantly on. So when we fire it, the BBs are just curving up. So we're definitely going to have to take a look at this bucking. It's likely damaged. So what we're going to do is, now there are 4 screws, one here, one here, one here, one here. Just take those out. Now that we have those out, what you want to do is, again, get your flathead screwdriver, come to the front portion here, and very lightly push it open. You see how it sprung out? There's these little catches here on the side that will lock it into this. So if we push it back in here, it'll actually lock it in place. And then all you got to do is take your flathead screwdriver, come to the front portion here, push it in, and there you go. It'll release the hop-up unit and everything. Now we can pull this assembly out and set this aside for now. Go ahead and remove your hop-up spring. Your next portion, or next step, will be to remove the barrel lock. It might be hard to see here. There's 3 fins on here. Just grab one of the fins and lightly push up on it. And there you go. Popped off. Now, JGs are sometimes very tight on here. They'll get stuck and bound, so you might want to get a little silicone oil and get in here and lightly spray. Other times where it's really bad, where you'll actually have to get pliers and grab on it and twist. This one looks like somebody already had to do that once. You can see here it's all scuffed up. So I'm assuming when they put this back together, they didn't install it right, so the bucking got damaged. Now, this little piece just fell out of mine. This is actually the hop-up, I'd call it a rocker. Basically, when you turn this knob here, this is actually the piece that pushes down on the nub. So we'll go ahead and take this apart. Once you take the barrel lock off, this barrel will actually just come right out the front of the inner barrel. Now we can take the hop-up unit and start twisting it. If it's not free moving, mine's pretty free moving, but if yours isn't, spray some silicone oil in here. And like I said, if it's really tight, you might have to get pliers on it. Be very careful, you don't want to crack your hop-up unit. So just twist. And then this one, the bucking is in there incorrectly. So we're just going to pull it off. This is definitely going to have to be replaced. Okay. This brass ring, a lot of you, sometimes you change the inner barrels and you can't get it back onto your inner barrel. This is needed. I would make sure that you figure out a way to get it on there, either by pushing it with a flathead screwdriver or even buying an aftermarket one that will allow you to put it on a steel type barrel. We're going to go ahead and pull this bucking out and take a look at it. Okay, alrighty, I can see the hole in it right on the top. So this bucking was definitely forced into the hop-up unit when it was installed. So this is going to be replaced, and I'll be right back.